In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins, and we begin with a warning from police. The next time you're headed into the gym, you may want to be more thoughtful about where you put your stuff. The Austin Police Department is warning people about a new crime trend impacting gym goers. KVUE's Kelsey Sanchez explains.
Some people are finding their Monday motivation by hitting the gym. Here at Hyde Park Gym along Guadalupe Street, they're getting their reps in.
The good thing about this section of Austin, Hyde Park, specifically this gym specifically, is how close we are. We're a very tight-knit community.
But not everyone going to the gym is trying to build up their stamina. Austin Police Detective Sean Green says these businesses are where police are seeing a new crime trend emerge.
They're getting temporary memberships, whether that's a daily membership or a weekly membership. They're then going to the locker room, breaking into the lockers, and doing the same types of crimes. So they're stealing your credit cards, your personal information, your driver's license, your passports.
While Hyde Park Gym is smaller in size, Webb says they're not taking any chances.
I don't like it. This is obviously a big problem. Austin is a very unique and special place.
Webb says staff here can usually spot when someone's acting suspicious or lingering a little too long. When that happens, he says that staff usually calls that person out and asks them to leave.
We have routines, we have patterns, and if something's out of it, we'll usually lock down on it real quick.
Green says the good thing is when people sign up for temporary memberships, the gyms take in their information. So it gives investigators something to go on. And many of the gyms they're working with have surveillance cameras.
There are ways that we're able to work with them in that circumstance because a crime has been committed.
Although Webb says not much will change at the gym in terms of preventative measures, staff says they'll definitely keep their eyes peeled. In Central Austin, Kelsey Sanchez, KVUE News.
And to avoid becoming a victim, the detective advises that gym goers either leave their personal items at home or in the trunk of their cars. But if your items are stolen, notify gym staff and call police. Students are suing the University of Texas system over new campus free speech rules that they say violate their civil rights. The new lawsuit challenges policies that limit when and where students can protest on campus. The rules come from Senate Bill 2972, known as the Campus Protection Act. It banned overnight protests and limits what are described as expressive activities from 10 p.m. until 8 a.m. The law was passed after pro-Palestinian protests took place at UT Austin and UT Dallas last spring. More than 150 people were arrested during those demonstrations. The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression filed the lawsuit on behalf of student groups, including demonstrators and an independently run newspaper from UT Dallas. Governor Greg Abbott is hinting at the possibility of a third special session, and over the weekend, he spotlighted an issue lawmakers could not reach a deal on. We're talking about a proposal to block public access to police records that contain unsubstantiated claims of conduct. As KVUE's Adam Bennett explains, public access to those records is part of the Austin Police Oversight Act that was passed by voters 2 years ago.
As students at St. Edward's University return to class, political science professor Brian Smith wonders if the lawmakers just up Congress Avenue will gavel back in soon.
Taken together, there's enough small items to warrant a session, but there isn't that one big item that all of Texans are clamoring for.
Governor Greg Abbott floated the idea of a third special session last Friday.
I would say stay tuned on that. Something may be happening soon.
The next day at a police event in McAllen, the governor brought up an issue that didn't make it to his desk in either the regular or special sessions, a bill to block public access to unsubstantiated police misconduct records.
I will not give up on this issue until we get it passed.
In March, state lawmakers heard passionate testimony from people on both sides of the issue. Supporters say the proposal would shield officers from unproven claims.
781 addresses a very real and growing concern among law enforcement professionals, the need to protect peace officers' personal and professional information from unnecessary and potentially harmful public exposure.
Critics argue it could damage department transparency.
That language, once you craft it into the law, is going to stand between you and information about police conduct where there was not a finding that sustained the, discipline.
After voter approval in 2023 and a judge's ruling the next year, the Austin Police Oversight Act made available confidential personnel files that contained complaints that did not result in disciplinary action. Last fall, the city of Austin said it no longer maintains those so-called G files. Back at St. Edwards, Brian Smith is in wait-and-see mode on whether Governor Abbott will give state lawmakers another chance to pass new statewide rules.
There's really only a handful of items he didn't get, and if he's going to bring the legislature back in for small items, he's got to package enough small items to make one big item.
That was our Adam Bennett reporting. Besides police records, Dr. Smith says THC property tax cuts and even disaster relief could be on a potential third special session agenda. A truck carrying dirt crashed in Pflugerville Monday morning, causing a big mess, closures and delays. This happened on the southbound State Highway 45 to State Highway 130 access road. First responders had to clean up the dirt and get the truck moved out of the way before the road could reopen. A University of Texas researcher is taking a closer look at what's really in Austin's waterways. And as it turns out, there's more than just fish and plants. KVUE's Jessica Cha sat down with the researcher to discuss microplastics and why they could have a big impact on our environment.
If you take a dip into Lady Bird Lake, some say you'd find nature.
Turtles, ducks, yeah, birds.
But researchers at the University of Texas say there's a lot more than just fish floating in the lake.
Austin's lakes are full of mainly tire and roadwear particles. That is the main finding that we found.
Danielle Zaleski, a master's student at UT in geological sciences, is talking about microplastics. They're teeny pieces of plastic, smaller than 5 millimeters long, that can get chipped off from synthetic materials over time. And they are everywhere.
Tops of very high mountains. They've been found in the clouds, just pretty much everywhere you could think of.
They're small enough to flow through your body, too, which is why Zaleski says she's concerned they're in our waterways.
It can affect all the vegetation and the organisms living there. It all eventually just builds up over time, and there's not really a way to get them out.
For the past 2 years, she's been studying how they've been accumulating in our lakes as the city grows.
Anything that is very colored or angled is likely a microplastic.
Taking samples from different parts of Lady Bird Lake and Lake Austin and putting them under a microscope. Some of them are from where I-35 runs over the lake.
It had so much debris and microplastics that we weren't able to fit them on one filter.
While there isn't quite enough information to know what these microplastics are doing to environments and our bodies, she says we should be paying attention.
We are the reason that they're in our environment in the first place.
Because nature might eventually be affected.
Just seeing the pollution in the river is sad.
In Austin, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
A new report from Zonda Education shows high home prices in Round Rock are threatening future enrollment in that district. The study shows home sales within the district dropped by about 50% over the past 3 years, and prices have spiked. This is impacting the school district because the amount of state funding is determined by enrollment numbers. Zonda predicts enrollment could drop by more than 1,000 students or could grow by 1,700 by the year 2034, depending on the housing market. Well, those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Mark Mullins.